Hello everyone, welcome to My Enemies for tonight's Fans Forum. It's a chance for Mariners supporters to discuss the club's progress, both on and off the pitch, with the people that run this glorious football club on the fans' behalf. After what's been a pretty quiet couple of weeks for everyone here at Blundell Park, I'll just introduce the panel. On tonight's panel we've got CEO Polly Bancroft, Club Chair Andrew Pettit, and Men's First Team Coach David Artell. Welcome. I'll just go through a quick rundown of the timing. So we're about 6:15 now, so if we go for about 45 minutes, and then have a break at about 7 o'clock for 15 minutes, and then carry on until about 8 o'clock until we've exhausted everyone's thoughts on what's happening in the club, which, to be honest, is pretty good at the minute. And if you need to leave the room for whatever reason, just be mindful that Martin over there is filming for YouTube, and that will be uploaded later at some point. So we're going to do it in sections. So we're going to start with the football section, and then later on we'll move on to the actual club and behind the scenes with Polly and Andrew. But for starters, we'll start with football. So David, I've got some questions that have been already submitted here, and then I'll come to the floor afterwards. So we start with Joe Turner. He asks, would you rather we won automatic promotion in second or third, or go up via the playoffs? This is purely hypothetical bit of fun, of course, as we'll obviously be winning the league. Good start.
Hello. I think definitely just the order of the day's progress. You know, if that culminates in any sort of promotion, we'll be delighted. Obviously, we prefer it to go automatic, because then that gives us the best chance of being as best prepared as we can for the following season. But as I keep saying, the P word is progress.
Very good, David.
Were you expecting more?
I mean, Joe's asked the question, but yeah, I'll ask him because I do know him. Max Grice, he asks, any update on Sam Lavelle, Doug Tharm, Jarsen Svan Thorsen and Zach Gilson's injuries?
They're coming along nicely. Yeah, they're coming along nicely. I couldn't give you an exact date because I don't know. I keep saying, one, there's a genuine thing about competitive advantage and us letting the cat out of the bag for if I did know, and I don't. There's also and I think this is really important internally, there's the autonomy of the role. I don't want to feel as though I'm breathing down the necks of the physios or the sports scientists, and I'm pretty certain they don't want me, doing that either. So I let them get on with their job, and they tell me he's making good progress. So I don't ask for dates, because I don't want anyone to feel under pressure. I know the physios are working their socks off, the players are working their socks off, and they'll be back when they're healed and Mother Nature gets them fit. So are some of them back on the grass? Yes. So I do know that, for example, Zach and Jason are back on the grass because they've trained on an opposite pitch to us today. How close they are, I don't actually know. They don't ask the question.
With Svan Thorsen, it's going to be having a new signing, isn't it?
Well, yeah, of course. I think whenever you've had a player out for an extended period of time, Sam Lavelle, we've seen for 60 minutes, and Zach was sort of pre-season, he had some really good flashes, and then also got injured at Grimsby. So we don't see much of him, so they're all going to be like new signings in ways. And like I say, we want a fully fit squad to choose from, because that gives us the best chance of being successful. So if we can all get back for tomorrow, that'd be great. There won't be.
Yeah, there's an exclusive.
I do know that.
Richard Barber, he asks, are we likely to see any contract extensions soon, as some of the big ones are in the final 10 months of their contracts?
I think the answer to that is we're always trying to improve. We're always trying to get better. If that means trying to retain players or trying to get better players. I got told that there was an absolute clamour online for a certain left back that we had last year. I'm not sure we're missing him. So I don't want my words to be misconstrued or suggest that we're not trying or we're just passive or blasé about trying to retain some players and we're just going to back ourselves in the recruitment department. But if that's what we have to do, that's what we'll do. And I think we've constantly shown that we can improve. So the order of the day is to improve this football club on the pitch. That's my job in the men's first team. By whatever means, contract extensions or
I think so, yeah.
Need to invest in some batteries.
Yeah. Bored. Maybe the microphone's just bored already. That's before we get on to throws. Yeah, well, I've sort of said what the order of the day is to make progress, and that's what we're going to try and do.
Yeah, just to add one thing to that, I mean, we very much focused on wanting to have a long-term plan with players. It's you've probably noticed a lot of players being signed on 2 and even 3-year contracts, which is very much part of the journey. But so we are constantly looking to improve the team. Part of that is the improvement that David and the staff will make as they're with us, hopefully over that 2 or 3 year period, and the ambition of the club hopefully will match up with the ambition of the players and the talents of the players that we're developing. So yeah, it's definitely something that there's a plan going on. Even if you don't hear things day to day, there's a plan that we're thinking about in terms of already thinking about January, already thinking about next summer. So it's an ongoing process.
I think if I can just add to that as well, we want to develop and we want to improve and we want to grow, but we also want to be sustainable. And I know we've had good conversations about where we would like to go in terms of our offers or our retention, so we're clear on what our walk-away points are. And if we have to walk away, we're comfortable because we've already pre-agreed that and we know what the other options might be. And I think that's a really healthy place to be, because even in the beginning of the summer window, I think we'd set a target, or we had our eyes on someone. We were asked to pay too much and over the odds from what we considered. So we already had a backup. So we said, okay, thanks very much, and we moved on really quickly. I think just being in control really helped us through this summer window. And I think obviously because of the relationship with Jamestown and all of the players that are provided to us and the names that are given to us through that process is really helping us and giving us that competitive advantage as well.
Thank you, and thank you, Richard, for your question. Question from Toby Smith here. In the training week, building up to a match day, how do you strike the right balance between working on and improving the game model? In brackets, how do you want the lads to perform long term? Compared to how you tweak and adapt depending on the opposition for that week?
That's a good question.
It is.
Yeah. I think that's not an easy question to answer. So, what was he called? Toby?
Toby.
Yeah, good question, Toby. If you're in the audience, 10 points from me. Yeah. I think if you've got a 2-game week, a Tuesday, Saturday, it's now impossible to try and improve players and relate it back to game model. You can certainly improve players every day, without a shadow of a doubt. Getting the right balance between tactical nuance that's going to be important in the next game and actual what they need per se, regardless of opposition. You hope that our principles also lead into that. So, for example, let's say we want, I'm genuinely making this up, let's say we want Greeny to get in the 6-yard box more. He gets in there plenty, so it's hypothetical. We would work on that on the days that we thought was going to be really beneficial for that game week, so it ties them both together. So we might do that on a Tuesday and a Thursday leading into a game, before he scores in the 6-yard box at MK Dons. We didn't, I'm just using it as an example because he did score. So we've got all them individual development plans for each player that we go through, and we try and tie it into the tactical approach for the game on Saturday, whilst they're still learning. And it doesn't mean because we're working on that with Greenie, it's not relevant to Ev or Clark or Jamie Walker or X or X or X. So that's how we try and do it. Good question.
And of course, Greenie doesn't need to get in the 6-yard box because he can score from anywhere. That's what you see.
They can.
Hello? Hello. Right, Freddie, my glamorous assistant, is going to, if you've got any questions on the floor, Freddie's going to come along with a microphone. If you just say your name and what your question is, that'd be great. If there are any questions on the footballing side of things, to ask David from the floor, just put your hand up. You need a microphone as well, Freddie, don't you? If you just raise your hand, there you go, Freddie. If you just say your name and what your question is, thank you.
Hello, David.
Hello.
And again. Has it done it again? We lost that. I said, can you hear me, David?
Pardon?
Can you hear me?
So we're coming a mile off.
Go on, I can hear you loud and clear, my friend.
I'd just like to say what a solid start we've had to the season. My question is, can we please pray that Vernon stays fit for the whole season? Because what a player.
If you believe in divine intervention and want to pray for him, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it. You know, he's terrific. You know, he's an important player for us when he's fit and available. We all know that. And he's made a terrific start. So, fingers crossed it happens for the next 45 games as well.
Good goal as well at MK. Oh, brilliant performance, wasn't it?
It was done for me, yeah.
Any other questions from the floor for David about the footballing side of matters? Yeah, just here, Freddie. Here we go.
Cheers. Thank you.
It's a Norman Collier, mate.
We all sort of witnessed the other night at BP, one of the best nights ever here. Thank you for that. In planning for that, could you have hoped for it to have gone any better than it did, and the lads to turn up and be what you wanted them to be?
Yeah, I think you're right, yeah. Nights like that are magical. They are. It's very difficult to plan for them kind of games from my side. You can't stand there before the lads and genuinely say this is a weak link, because they haven't got any. That's the truth. So you've got to concentrate on yourselves. It helped that we knew that they weren't going to change shape throughout the whole 90 minutes. But if truth be told, we also thought that would help them as well, simply because they'll be really good at what they are. You know, I watched them on the Sunday, they were electric for the first 25 minutes at Fulham. Like electric. And we're going, it's going to be tough. Like really tough. So when you look at it from the opposition point of view, which you do in every game, you're actually going, let's just concentrate on us.
You can't do anything about that.
You can say, look, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Are we good enough to stop that? Are we good enough to take advantage of that? Not sure. And I think if you're honest enough with the players and say, look, this is what we're going to try and do, or this is what needs to happen, there's an element of realism and honesty in what I'm saying. But at the same time going, look, but this can work for us, this can happen. So I'm going to press them, I'm going to get after them. Not sure they expected it. Well, we're okay with that. Come on, go and do that. And when, you know, I said to them before the game, if you get to 5 minutes, they'll start off like a train, get to 5 minutes, you know, get to 10 minutes, get to 15 minutes, get to half an hour, get to half time at 0-0 or 1-0. You've already won at that point. Because the only thing we can lose at kick-off is pride. Because they lost, you know, Barnes lost 7-0 the year before. So the only thing we can lose tonight is pride. If we get to half time at 0-0 or 1-0 up, then we can actually sort of go home at that point. Now, I didn't say it in that kind of manner. But at the same time, that was the game. In the first half, you come 2-0 up, and you have sort of won at that point, because regardless of what happens after that, everyone goes home going, you know, we lost to Man United on penalties. We were just as good as we should have won in normal time. All you know, and they thank them, you know, when you go, well done for winning the penalty shootout and all that. And actually, it didn't turn out like that. And we deserved to win. So regardless of what happened after, our performance was outstanding. And we took an unbelievable team, an unbelievable manager. I know he gets a lot of stick and he got a lot of heat after it. And he'll continue to, because he's one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest club in the world. But we're actually better than him. And that's good.
So it was right. We felt that the lads went out there to enjoy it and not feel the pressure. And you've said that often, haven't you, that you want them to improve, you want them to go out there not worrying about what we're doing, just go and do it. And it showed.
I said to him, use it as a platform, not the pinnacle of your career. A lot of them definitely use it as a platform. Whether they'll get to play Man United as the calibre team again in their careers, I don't know. But they definitely use it as a platform. And if they go out there and make mistakes, it's on me. You know, blame me. No, not wrong, it won't be me that makes mistakes. It's like, come on, just play with freedom. And I think the lads play with freedom because of how we treat them, what we ask them to do. You know, I would ask them to play football against Manchester United. It sounds bonkers. Maybe it is. Maybe that's the good bit of it, I don't know. But I said the lads going, yeah, okay, because that's what we do. Because we play football against MK Dons and wallop them as well. And it's, come on, that's what we practice. So do what you practice, and you're good enough, and believe you're good enough. And that's where they're at the minute, and that's the mindset's in a good place. But that's because they work hard every day. It doesn't just come. It's just they want to get better as a group, and that's really pleasing as a head coach.
I think what you described there also mirrored the fans' experience as well, because we kind of turned up thinking, oh God, we're playing Man United, this is unbelievable. And then when the game started, it's like, oh, we can do this. And you felt that in the place. It was weird how it happened.
Sean come and tapped me on the shoulder after 5 minutes and went, we've got to 5 minutes, we're doing all right here. He genuinely did. And then, promise you, after 10 minutes, I went to mention, I went to him, we've got to 10, we're doing all right, aren't we? I promise you, that was exactly what the two conversations we had in the first 10 minutes. And it was. I've never heard it like, unbelievable, the atmosphere. You know, fans deserve a huge amount of credit for, you know, the whole experience was fantastic. You know, all the staff getting all the tickets, the whole experience for everyone. You know, my wife was crying her eyes out, bless her, on the way home, and because everyone felt like that, and it was, you know, like I say, it was a magical night.
The thing is, it went out to a worldwide audience as well, didn't it? So how beneficial was that for us? I think.
Well, I think Polly's probably better answering that. I don't know, but
Yeah, we'll probably touch on that, I think, later on about the global experience and how many eyes actually saw Grimsby Town, because it was incredible. But yeah, we will touch on that later on. If there are any other questions for David about the footballing side of matters, just raise your hands. Just one right at the back, Freddie, if your microphone's working, is it? No? Okay.
All right. My question is just, what did you see to take Kieran Green playing from defensive midfield to like the second striker, pretty much now, when he's getting forward all the time?
The truth is, he couldn't receive off a defender. That's the honest answer. He could not receive off a back player, so he couldn't. I believe he came to his football club as a defensive midfielder, or certainly a deeper midfielder. He couldn't receive a ball off a back player. I thought he was he's a great bloke. Anyone who's met him, he's a great bloke. Tried his socks off, wants to improve, has improved. So you don't throw characters like that, you know, by the wayside. You help them get better. So if he's prepared to run through a brick wall for his football club and the team and his teammates, and us as staff. Well, you've got to make sure, you've got to get the best out of him. What does he do very well? Runs forward very well. So put him in a position that he runs forward in.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, really. Limit where he's not very good, and expose where he's very good. I don't think it's rocket science, but that's the simple and
Yeah.
honest and
Just
truthful
wonder
answer.
why no one else had seen that, and then you come and totally changed him.
Well, I think he got a bit of an unfair stick when I first come to the club, because I think he tried his socks off. It was a bit like Harry Maguire 2 years ago at Man United. He was the one that was playing all the time, but he used to get the stick. And for me, I go, if you put him in positions where you can maximise his qualities and minimise his weaknesses, you get more output. And that's not just Greeny, we've done that with a few. And suddenly they look better players. It's not necessarily down to me, it's because they want to work hard and improve at the game.
Any other questions for David? Freddie, please.
All the way.
Hi Dave. When you're saying about after 5 minutes it was 0-0, after 10 minutes it was 0-0, what was you thinking when it went 2-0?
That's not repeatable on camera. Look, we've got a process and a protocol to go through now at half time. We don't go into the dressing room for a good 5, 6, 7 minutes. We let them discuss what they want to discuss without us being in there. And we spoke at half time. I think I spoke before the game. I certainly said it internally. When I was crew manager, we played Leeds. First game back after COVID at Ellen Road, 38,000. We 0-0 at half time and we were better than them. And then they changed at half time and they walloped us. And they beat us 3-0. They scored 3 goals in the last 10 minutes and they deserved to, because they changed. Bielsa changed and I didn't. So we spoke about it on the Monday afternoon about what we might need to do at half time if we were drawing 0-0 or winning 1-0, what we went through. So when we were winning 2-0 at half time, we reverted back to what we discussed Monday afternoon. A lot of it was they won't change, they'll only change personnel, which is what they did. They brought on 3 subs, I think, at half time, which made our jobs easier for the second half because Bielsa did change something and it affected us. We couldn't get to grips with it. So we felt comfortable, believe it or not. And I don't want to sound an idiot saying that, but we actually knew what was coming second half, which helped us. So I feel as though, because I don't think they particularly hurt us. But I don't want to sound like an idiot. I think the lads took on board what we said to them at half time really well. Didn't get carried away. There was no arrogance about us. I don't think we haven't got arrogant players. And we just went, come on, go and do it again. And the truth is, Dara should have scored to make it 3-0. Cam did score. Contentious. And we should have been out of sight a long time before they even scored one. Never mind got the equaliser. So I thought the performance was a credit to the lads really, and the whole football club, town supporters, community, because we deserved to beat them. And I thought it took on board what we said to them before the game, in training beforehand and at half time really well. And I think it's only, I said to someone earlier, it's only really started to sink in what actually happened. I didn't get home till 3:15 in the morning.
Is it okay?
Now where's the legal invest now?
You're more likely to bet that one than all.
Yeah. So anyway, that was it basically. I wasn't really feeling much. I was just doing my job, just focusing on the players, what's in front of you, and trying to win a football match.
Now one more question. Would you ever imagine yourself sitting in the dugout like Ruben Amorim with a clipboard or whatever he was using with the magnetic, trying to work out a tactic like you was, looking like an idiot?
I think he gets a lot of unfair stick. He was just doing his, he was trying to work out. I said in some post-match press conference, my job's to try and work out the answers for the players if they can't work it out for themselves and give them that information. Obviously the easiest time to do that is at half time or tell us sub, but sometimes you have to shout on. He's just doing that. He just gets a lot of unfair. What should he have done?
Don't know.
That's the alternative. If people come for a head coach trying to find a solution to the problem that he's got, I was really happy that he was doing it, because I know that means he's got a problem. And we give him that problem. But actually, that's his job. You know, if he was playing tic-tac-toe, I'd have a problem. You know, he's genuinely just doing his job. But because he's doing his job sat in the dugout, everyone goes, oh, hang on a minute, you can't do that. Why not? I think the narrative is unfair, but I'm going to say that as a head coach. I'd like to think if I was sat there trying to work things out, you know, people would go, oh, at least he's trying to work it out. Might not get it right, but at least he's trying. And that's all he was doing.
Cheers, David. One more. Oh, don't worry, Freddie, I'll do it.
Steve Kirby. I was listening to the Jaden Sweeney interview pre-Grimsby, and obviously a guy who's very experienced, had a very good career, and he was singing your praises, obviously saying you're one of the main reasons why you joined the club. You're one of the best tactical coaches he's ever worked under, and he just basically said that you seem to have a good understanding of each other, and I just wondered if you could, without giving too much away, could you give an insight as to how you make players feel that they fit, and what do you say or do different to other coaches maybe?
Treat them properly, speak to them properly, treat them as human beings, not footballers. I don't think it's difficult. Maybe, I don't know. Walk out to training today and before they go for the warm-up, Neil and Clark are doing kick-ups. Said, right, can I join in this little group, the best haircuts in the club? You know, because they've got different hair. You know, one's got dreadlocks and one's got cornrows. I like it. It shows their personality. Straight away, they're both laughing. I think little things like that. And I'm genuinely, I think they've got the best hair in the club. Otherwise, I wouldn't say I don't lie to them. You know, I wouldn't say that to somebody else. But I'll say something that I think is genuine, you know, and I think that just makes people feel comfortable. I don't know, I think just being personable and actually helping them, following through what I say. I'm going to try and make you better as a person, as a footballer, and devoting a lot of time to it. The best thing I can give anyone is my time. And I think I did. I think I work hard at that. And they get better, and they give it back. We've all had good bosses and bad bosses. The best the best bosses work hard for you, and they're dependable, and they're emotionally stable. So when you need help, they go, I've got you. I might not have the answer, but I'll try and find the answer, or I'll help you get through this. What do? It doesn't matter whether it's football or down the docks. It doesn't. I don't think it matters. That's all. There's no secret to it. I don't think it is, anyway.
Cheers for the question, thank you. If there's no more questions on the footballing side, I just want to ask our panel, what do you think to the start of the season? Obviously we've mentioned the Manchester United game, which is, you know, a fantastic occasion here at London Park, but what do you three make of the start to this season?
From my point of view, I think we're showing good progress from last year, but there's a long way to go. I don't just mean in games, I'm on about in our development. You know, we've shown flashes of being really good and above the level, and we've got to consistently get there so that we end up above the level. And I don't just mean results-wise, I'm on about outcome, performance. The best thing I can sort of say about our start, I haven't, there's not one team that we played this year that I thought were better than us. Doesn't mean we've won every game. There's not one team. And I think that's a good testament to our squad, the players and how we play.
Yeah, I'd say it's been a pretty good start to the season so far. I think we're starting to see an identity emerge amongst the team, which obviously thanks to David and the team from that perspective. And I think we're starting to see the fruits of the 4 years or so that we've been involved. It's a long journey to sort of show improvement both on and off the pitch. But you're never satisfied. You always want to keep going and keep making improvements and keep thinking, well, what is the next part we can improve on? And we're constantly looking at all aspects of the club to try and improve. Obviously within budgetary limits and all that good stuff. But on the pitch, there's been some great moments. The Manchester United game was exceptional. In my long town following career, I can't remember an atmosphere like it. And I think that roar when Charles's first goal went in will live with me forever. It was just guttural. I think I wrote to the programme as well. It was an incredible moment. And then obviously when the penalty hit the bar, that was it, wasn't it? But no, I mean that's why we've done this. It's about making memories, and I think there's been a few memories already in what we had 9-10 games. So I'm just very excited for what's to come for the rest of the season.
Yeah, Polly, what do you make to the start?
I'm trying to think where the last one ended and where this one started, but I think some of the things like the new player announcements that we've done, the music, the players going out into the town, that's been a really nice feature. The fact that we've been able to get 2 of the stands sponsored, but also these kit launches, to obviously start with the home, then the away, and the Bonetti, just the iconic Bonetti video, and then the tongue-in-cheek sort of third launch video with, featuring Lloyd over in the main stand. So just, a massive shout out to the media team for putting all that content together, and so creative, a sense of humour there, but also the pride in us as a club wanting to be out into the town and around the various sites. So just some of that off-pitch stuff has been amazing. And then, as the guys have said, starting the season so well on the pitch, Walsall away stands out as well. Crawley at home, first game, and then, of course, all of our ears were still ringing the morning after what was the night before.
Yeah, it's been an incredible start to the season. We're going to move on to a different section now, and this is all about Blundell Park and the training ground and the facilities. So, Andrew, this is more your domain, I would imagine. Questions from Matt Savage, Stephen Holden, John Cowdroy and Ryan Woodward. They all asked about updates on the proposed new training ground. That's a surprise.
What training ground? No, it's we are continuing the process. We have a site secured, working through due diligence, looking hopefully to get an announcement out fairly soon once everything is tied up. But we're working through the process. In fact, just this morning we were working through sort of drawings and designs for what we want to try and create. So kind of watch this space, but please be patient. Once we can't announce anything until the ink's dry on a contract, which hopefully will be relatively soon. And I don't want to hear this question again.
Thank you, Andrew. Ashley Brown, Mark Middleton, Bill Jenner, Mike Gresham, Tony Walker and Mark Walter, they all asked about increasing capacity and improving the facilities of Blundell Park, citing examples from Wrexham, Fulham, Crewe and Nottingham Forest. Suggestions including extending the Ramsden stand, adding a second tier to the pontoon, adding seating to the corners and using building containers for hospitality. Mark Middleton also added the most exciting squad for a generation, by the way.
I don't know where to start on that one. But obviously we're prioritising what we need to do at Blundell Park in terms of preserving the old girl that she is at the moment. As you'll have seen over the closed seasons of the last 3 years, we've had to spend money maintaining what is here. From a capacity perspective, obviously Manchester United we could have probably sold the ground out three times over, but a little bit like when you're building for an Olympic Games, you don't want to build lots of hotels and then they never get used again. It's, the same from our perspective. But we're ambitious. But we equally still have work to do in terms of the pitches and improving the services, which I think has been better so far this year. And also there's still work to be done on the stands. We have looked at all those options and probably more. Putting a cantilever on top of the main stand sort of stands out to me. But no, we have looked at filling in the corners. We have looked at different options, but it's got to be a right cost benefit analysis. And whilst we're still seeing red seats around the ground on a Saturday, then we're not quite ready for the green ones. But we're definitely thinking about them.
And just on the pitch, I would say that Manchester United game it showed how much it stood up with all that rain that fell down.
Yeah, the pitch. I mean, shout out to Martin and the team. I think the pitch is both here and at the training ground so far stood up well. There's been a few tweaks and changes in terms of maintenance, and we spent some more money on them this close season, and hopefully that will bear fruit as we go through the more difficult weather to come. But the rain we've had and the sun we've had is pretty good for grass. It's a bit later in the winter that we need to obviously be wary, but so far so good.
Excellent, thank you, Andrew. Question from Adam Munson. If required funds were available, what improvements or updates would you make to Blundell Park?
Well, again, as I said, we have got improvements that we want to make, that we need to make in terms of general infrastructure. The pitch itself is over 100 years old, so again, in an ideal world, we had unlimited resources, we'd spend the 7 figures needed to replace the actual pitch. But in the meantime, we're just having to invest in it over each close season. Obviously, we'd love to have more capacity, but looking at the ground we have, we're surrounded by the community. It's very difficult to imagine buying up a lot of houses and then bulldozing them. I can just imagine us ever wanting or thinking about doing that. So we have to work within our constraints, and so looking at adding capacity potentially over time, but for the time being we're in good shape. And as we go up the leagues, it's going to be a more difficult question to answer.
Cheers, Andrew. I'll throw it out to the floor. If you've got any questions about Blundell Park or the training facilities, just raise your hand. If you haven't, that's fine. No, we'll move on. Freddie, you're fine? You're all right? Yeah. Let's move on to marketing and communications. Polly, this is more your domain. Question from Andy Stevens. Because of the Man United game being watched by millions worldwide, has the club noticed an uptick in any engagement by new fans or in commercial activity? Also, do you have a strategy or plan as to how best to exploit the fact that millions of people are now aware of GTFC?
This might be more of a question for you, Scott.
Don't bring me into it.
A couple of numbers. So we've seen more than 100,000 new followers on our channels. Scott, was your video 10 million views?
Yeah, something like that.
It's his agent.
It's got an agent now, exactly. No, we use the opportunity to host our existing partners here in McMenemy's. We invited some prospect partners, and that's led on to some really encouraging conversations for next season and onwards. So we're really optimistic about what that game has given us in terms of the commercial side. And then visibility, I think you mentioned earlier, it did go global. I think we had over 80 articles online. We were on every kind of sports, TV, radio channel you can imagine. I mean, who'd have thought Charles Vernon would be speaking to Ryland on This Morning? If that's not mainstream, I don't know what is. But yeah, just tremendous reach, and it wasn't just the lead up to the game, but because of the result going global, it was absolutely tremendous for us. And obviously the kind of tongue-in-cheek video that Scott did in the team announcement ahead of Bristol, what was it, tweet of the day, or yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, those kind of amazing bits, the sideshow, if you like, that we were able to capitalise on, and yeah, it certainly led to really interesting conversations on the commercial side.
And you never know who's watching, do you? Because it was on Paramount Plus in America. The figure here, 225,000 households, and that's 18.6 million minutes of viewership. That's incredible. You never know who's watching.
No, exactly. So we were in with the millions of domestic viewers. I don't have the figures yet for the international audience. That comes early October, I think. So yeah, amazing opportunity for us, and it kind of links into some of the conversations that Andrew's now having with potential new investors about that reach. I think we're on Paramount Plus on Tuesday as well. So again, the growing interest from America is certainly something that we're seeing. Whether that has a direct impact in terms of the 1878 investment, not sure, but certainly on the marketing side, on the commercial side, and on our media channels, it's great in terms of increased engagement.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Thanks for the question, Andy. Question from Mike Seawood. Can you provide an update, please, on why we are not getting matchday moments from the club now? It's been such a great start to the season, so it's a real shame we're not seeing behind-the-scenes footage.
Sure. So we've been slightly down on our staffing resource in the media team, but we're out to advert at the moment or going through the recruitment process to bolster that. So we're hoping that a longer form content will return. We've had a short form content on a match day, so there are some moments that are picked up, but yeah, it's something that we're looking to.
I've heard it's the best media team in football. Isn't that right, Freddie? Yeah? Yeah? Top one, yeah. Cheers, Polly, thank you. Any questions for Polly on the marketing and comms side?
Hi all, thank you for the brilliant start to the season, it's been fantastic. I wanted to ask about the ticketing website. Now, I couldn't watch the Man U match at Blundell Park, I had to watch it at the Market Tavern. I had an 1878 membership, logged in at 9 o'clock on the day and got put into it said I didn't have a membership, even though I bought tickets the week before with the discount. Then got put into a loop and then managed to get in by 12 o'clock, the only seats I couldn't buy. So I took it to the pub, which was really good fun. I just wondered if there was any plans to revamp the system. I think it's quite old and doesn't work that well.
I'm sorry that you had that experience. Is this one on? Yeah. I'm sorry that you had that experience and you weren't the only one. Opportunities or moments like that really stressed our systems. We had the system crashed on the Wednesday night after the draw as well, so it's something that we've been focused on as soon as the match was over, so that we can start to have a look at our infrastructure. Some of these aren't quick wins, so if we were, when we beat Sheffield Wednesday on Tuesday and we get Liverpool at home in the next round, I can't guarantee today that all of those problems will be resolved, but we are absolutely looking at them, so you don't have that experience, you don't get booted out, because it can only hold so many. Even challenges like knowing how many tickets that you want to buy, you put that in and a best available option comes up, so we're looking at it. We can only apologise to those fans that had that experience, because that's not what we want to offer, but we're aware of it and we're looking at it.
Thank you, Polly. Any more questions about the marketing and communication side of the... And the next section we'll move on to is the finance section. So naturally, Andrew, these questions will be for you. First one from Neil Mappers. What sort of loss should we expect from 24/25 come accounts day early next year? Was it a better or worse season than 23/24 on this front, and how much is this improved commercial income helping with the workload for the investor's checkbook?
So I think that kind of the punchline is that I think we can expect probably a similar level in terms of where we were in the prior year. I think one thing to bear in mind is that the we've got a 13-month period. We've moved to a June year end, which and June's a pretty bad month financially for football because there's no football being played and you're still paying your overheads. So the figures will probably look slightly worse for on that basis, but they'll be slightly better for some of the improved commercial income. We're very grateful to as Polly already talked about, the new stand sponsorships, all the commercial revenue, we've had record shirt sales. It's been a very, very good, and obviously the Manchester United game will help the numbers this year. But yeah, we're still budgeting for a loss, which obviously brings back to wanting to know that we're going to get some new income from the new regulator, hopefully in the next year or two, which is now been approved. So yeah, that's what's been budgeting. Obviously, that's without football fortune one way or the other in terms of whether it's player sales, which we're not objecting about, wanting to sell players, but at some point that may happen. And obviously the football fortune from unbudgeted items like the Manchester United game, but then there might be also unbudgeted items in the way. So it's slightly better, but not materially different. It's probably the same.
Thank you, Andrew, and thanks for the question, Neil. Next one from Matt Beer. Will Jason's new role in the big house impact whether he can invest further in GTFC, either in share purchase, loans or gifts?
Obviously that's a matter for Jason somewhat, but obviously first and foremost, we should all as a club be super proud of what Jason's achieved. I mean, to as a fellow Grimbarian to have not just a role in the House of Lords, but also minister in the government is an amazing achievement and testament to what Jason hopefully will bring to the country. Whatever your political persuasion is, I think it's only good news for us as a country. I think in terms of investment, whilst he's in the government, I'm not sure he can actually invest. So that I think that is a fairly simple answer to that question. But that's one of the reasons we're looking for new investments, and we've got a number of conversations going on with people who are prepared to join the 1878 journey, and obviously the Manchester United result, but also the start of the season, and also the culture that Polly's building within the club is all having a positive impact on those conversations. But nothing to report at this stage without training. So.
But he'll still plan to come to the games, Jason, will he?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's allowed now to. He's allowed now to
Pay 20 quid to get it.
To be fair, like me, he buys a season ticket. But I think he can now roam his sheep on London Park free of charge. Being in the House of Lords. And he will have a very funny wig when he shows up at the ground. So yeah, he'll be here. I think he'll be here tomorrow. Actually.
Okay.
So we'll all doff our cap.
Yeah, do we curtsy? I do with bow, I don't know. John Cowdroy, with Jason stepping away, will this open a place on the board and open new options for further investors?
As I say, we are in conversations, pretty early stage conversations. We're in conversations with investors, and that can include board representation. It doesn't necessarily open the space on the board per se. We don't have a fixed number of people that we would have on the club's board, but Jason has stepped and will step back from the sort of official position as a board member. That's one of the requirements of joining the government. But yeah, we're open to bringing on new talent and obviously new investment into the club. So yeah, that's definitely, you may expect one or two new faces in the future.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Thank you, John. Question from Greg, who sent this through the website. Greg Laubenstein. He's an overseas fan from the USA, a convert from a co-worker who grew up as a Grimsby fan. He says, for those of us who cannot attend matches, what is the best way for us to financially support the club?
Well, I mean, there's lots of ways. Hopefully, subscribe, watch the games via Mariners TV as an overseas subscriber, buy merchandise, and spread the word. Spread the word amongst Sporting teams is a network effect, and you can spread that amongst your network, and then people then spread it amongst their network, then that's only positive. And if he's got a few quid to invest, then we'll give him that number.
Excellent. Any questions from the floor about the finance side of things at the club? If you just raise your hand if there are any questions. If there aren't, that's fine. Okay, we'll move on to the next section. That's we'll go for tickets. So, Polly, Mark Birch from Buckinghamshire. As an 1878 member, my question is about Manchester United Cup tickets. With season tickets being priority after they had their opportunity, why was there not enough tickets for the next band, i.e. 1878 members? And secondly, what lessons have we learned regarding the ticket sales? And he gives credit and he wants to say big up to all the teams in the club shop and ticket office.
Thank you. I think I've probably answered most of that question previously, and absolute credit to all of the staff in the ticket office and the retail, because this was unprecedented. We were starting from scratch in terms of the strategy, in terms of the pricing, in terms of the priority. So on the whole, we think we've done okay in terms of honouring season ticket holders first, and then the members. Unfortunately, there was just not enough tickets to go around. Obviously, we had other stakeholders to serve as well. Clearly, we wanted the players and their families to join. We had the academy players. We had some staff to service as well. So we just didn't have enough seats in the house. Even though we gave the minimum to Manchester United, unfortunately, we just had not enough seats to go around. But lessons learned certainly on the process that we're looking to address.
I think fans were very welcoming. The club didn't take the mickey either with the pricing and the programme as well. The programme is something else.
Yeah, and I think as soon as the draw happened on Wednesday night, the phone was ringing, but we also wanted to make sure that we were doing the right thing by our core fans and by our core sponsors as well, so they had first dibs. And obviously a lot of consideration into the pricing structure was to use the individual matchday price, include the programme on top of that, and go from there really. So hopefully people can understand that we wanted to honour the loyalty of the fans, but also use it as a commercial opportunity at the same time.
Thank you, Polly. Another question from the website from Nick Ross. Is there a contingency plan in place for if or when the promotion comes in terms of away capacity? As 10 to 15 teams could bring far more than the maximum 1,200, 2 to 3 times over in some cases, and it could be a significant income raiser in comparison to League Two.
Yeah, I think our position will always be to prioritise our home fans and make sure that we're optimising the ground and giving David and the players that home advantage and that noise that we heard so far this season. So we'll always look to do that. And particularly in the Osman stands this season, that's provided fans with a more affordable option and an option to sit more people together as well. So we'll always look at our own first, and then if there isn't as much uptake from home fans, then we can look to extend the away fans into more than their allocated amount. But we'll always look at our own first.
Thank you, Polly. Question from Tony Aitken. There are a number of seats that are not taken by season ticket holders that are single. Could the club look at asking season ticket holders if they can move to take the vacant seats and make the newly vacant seats available as 2, 3 or even 4 seats together?
Yeah, so we put up some comments out in July letting fans know that we'd be in touch with fans that we recognise where there was a single seat in between season ticket holders, asking people to move up to then maybe allow 2 seats to be sold, and we saw some good take up from that. There's still a bit of work to be done, and we'll start reconnecting with those fans now that things are back to normal-ish, pending Tuesday. But if fans want to come forward and let us know that they'd be happy to move up a seat, then that helps us as well. But as I said, the Osman stand does provide that opportunity for larger groups to sit together. We have also seen an increase in season ticket sales following the Man United game as well, so there are less individual seats available. The other opportunity here is release your seat, and I just encourage fans to do that more and more. So we see over 500 fans or season ticket holders not show up, or an average of 500 every game. So that's a lot of single seats or a lot of empty seats every game that we could repurpose. So that would be my ask back to the fan base as well.
And how are we looking for tomorrow, attendance-wise, do you know?
7-2-ish. That's all season ticket holders included, so we'll see.
Okay. As everyone knows, the social media account on this GTFC day, run by Bruce Fenwick, who a lot of people know. I think we played in the Championship 30 years ago. We played Watford. There was 3,900. So we didn't know how good we had it in those days, and you know, the attendances we're seeing now are incredible.
Yeah, I think we want to sell out every week. You know, to give the guys, you know, the best chance, the best support vocally, you know, within the ground, and really make it that cauldron that we've seen recently. So, you know, that's on you know, all of us to make sure the matchday experience is positive, to make sure that people can get through the website, and make it as easy as possible for people to buy tickets. Release Your Seat does offer that opportunity as well, but you know, we'd like to sell out every week if we can.
Ryan Brees, he's shared concerns about persistent standing in Blundell Park. He asks, can we please designate non-standing areas of the ground? He bought the seat to sit in and he wanted to watch the game in comfort.
Yeah, I think that one was specifically around the Man United game, and I think we could probably allow fans a bit of leeway on that game in particular. I think, look, more generally speaking, if there are people in front of you that persistently stand, the first port of call is to let the stewards know. If that's not being addressed, then you can contact the stadium manager. But I think certainly, you know, I don't know what David thinks we're standing, but you know, certainly that game was a really special event on the Man United game. So hopefully there'll be some understanding.
Yeah, David, what did you make of the atmosphere? I mean, the atmosphere that night was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, the thing for me is, and I don't want to, this is just my opinion, and I don't know how much I might get in trouble for saying this. I'd love a standing section in the far corner of the pontoon where everyone's singing. But I'd like that in both corners, so that the whole of the Ramsden stand gets involved, but not to detract from someone who wants to sit down. So I'm trying to be diplomatic, but nobody can deny, because I think when I turned around once and looked to the main stand, everyone was stood up against Man United. Did that help the atmosphere? Maybe it was just because it was Man United, I don't know. So maybe it's because they were stood up. Maybe it's because they're all drunk. I don't know. Maybe it was the football that we're seeing. I don't know that either. I think the atmosphere, I think a bit like, you know, the pitch was unbelievable, the best I've seen it, Man United. Right? You've set the watermark, I'm afraid. As fans, you've set the watermark. That's the truth. So when it's a rubbish atmosphere, I'm going to say, hey, come on, pull your finger out. I'd say to the players, you know. So we're all trying to get better. We're all trying to improve. Obviously, as fans, you've got to be mindful. If somebody says sit down, you need to sit down because you sat in the seat. You should be. But at the same time, we all want that atmosphere again. So there's got to be a real fine balance. I thought it was brilliant. That's what I'd say.
I think it's about consideration, isn't it? If there's a small child sat behind you, or someone who can't stand for a long period, it's having that consideration for others, and it's that balance between that and the atmosphere, and I'm sure we can have both.
I was just saying though, last week at MK Dons, the best seats you'd ever have to sit on in a football ground in all my lifetime. Yep, everybody's standing up.
You could tell the atmosphere anyway.
We always choose standing because somewhere like Salford or Accrington or Harrogate, seats all standing, you always go standing, because we just think it's a better atmosphere. I don't know if it seems to generate better atmosphere when you stand in.
We need something.
I think we agree as well, but the problem is with the way the regulations work at the moment. If you take out a seat for the standing area, you're going to do one-to-one.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, you know, that I remember being at London Park and there were 22,000 people inside, and that, you know, that was mainly standing. So you've got to. Do we want to experiment by taking out, you know, 500 seats and having them all standing? Something we can discuss, but like everything comes at a cost.
Thank you, and thanks.
Sorry, Scott. It might actually be a topic that we pick up through Wayne and the Mariners Trust. If that's a topic that people feel really strongly about, then Wayne, maybe we can pick it up through your scheme.
Last one on the stadium, Punjab Mariner. Has there been any progress on providing disabled parking for fans? The street parking is still not adequate.
Dave Roberts is in the room. We met with the Disabled Supporters Association this week and the topic came up. So I'd encourage supporters to get in touch with Dave and hear about the work that they're doing in collaboration with the club. But we know it's an issue. We're not blessed with space for anybody. We're working with the Disabled Supporters Association to see what we can do. No quick wins, but we're looking at it.
Thank you, Polly. Any questions from the floor for Polly about tickets? Specifically, no, that's fine. We'll move on. We'll move on to the directorship section. Question from John Lewis. Might be that one, don't know. Uldenell. Can you explain what is involved in being a director of GTFC, as many fans are still under the impression that a chair is involved day to day like under previous years, whereas Polly runs the day-to-day operations?
Well, I'm not qualified to climb floodlights. No, I mean, in all seriousness, being a director, it has a lot of responsibility legally. So, from a safety perspective, I'm the designated director for the safety of the ground, and you have a lot of legal responsibilities as a director. The good thing, again, from the time that Jason and I first made our investment, and we really focused on making sure we built the right team and having the right team both on the football side and the non-football side. It takes a little bit of time to get everything right, but I think we're seeing the results now of a very, very strong team both on and off the pitch. And sparing the blushes of those the two next to me. It makes my job as chairman relatively easy. I'm like David. I'm here to hopefully calmly answer any questions and solve any problems if problems emerge, and then to drive the strategy and drive everything forward and challenge. And that's what a director, I think, almost by kind of English definition should do. But yeah, it's a privilege to be director of Grimsby Town Football Club, and it's not something any of us take lightly.
And Polly, you joined last summer, new to the club and the area. What's it been like for you in your first year and a bit?
It's been a nightmare. No, absolutely brilliant. I think culture is so easy to say but hard to get right-ish. I think David and I are really aligned in our styles, as with Jason and Andrew as well, about we treat people well, we're all on the same level, like we'll treat people for who they are. People come to work for different reasons, and that's absolutely fine. And we're all in this together. We really recognise the role of the club and where it sits within the community, and our continued desire to make sure that the doors are open to Blundell Park and we're welcoming as many different people in as possible. But yeah, I've absolutely loved it. I'm so pleased with the steps that we've taken, but we're not just settling for where it's at now. We want to keep growing all the time, both on and off the pitch. So no, I'm really pleased with where it's at, and looking forward to this season as well.
And David, I'll ask you as well. What's it like to work with this team?
Nightmare. It's just the same as Polly. It helps when you've got good bosses. That's the thing. I can help the players because I get help upwards. And when you've got that alignment, you've got stakeholders going, well, I think the fans can recognise there's good people in this football club. And you've got half a chance. And that's what we've got to make progress, to make everyone proud of what we try to do.
And it's coming up to second anniversary, is it?
End of November.
Yeah, end of November, and it's been a whirlwind, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, the first 3 months were tough. I mean more off the pitch. The first 3 months were really tough off the pitch for various reasons. You know, we had Cameron mainly had cancer. Cameron Walsh and his father passed away. There was other things going on. That was really tough, really tough. As well as trying to get results, there were lots of things. If you look back from where we were then, you know, to where we are now, it's chalk and cheese. But this, like I keep saying, there's still a long way to go. The club is definitely in a better position now than it was when I first walked in the door. And that's down to the hard work of everyone involved.
Cheers, David. Question from Ed Bates for Andrew and Polly. Are there plans to appeal the fine issued for the club regarding the late registration of the player for the Manchester United game?
No, we're not going to appeal. But we've made the statement, lessons have been learned, and we will move on.
Yeah, nothing more to be added about that, really. Any questions from the floor regarding the directorship at the club? Yeah, just here.
Quick question, more of a comment, a bit of feedback really about player safety. Against Bristol Rovers, Greeny slipped over the top of the Roost advert at the side of the pitch. It flipped up about 4 or 5 inch spikes. So I reported it, nobody seemed to have noticed, so I reported it to the stewards, and after about 10-15 minutes somebody came and resolved it. It probably needs to be dealt with a bit more proactively, that, if you're going to avoid, if he went over that again, he's going to get, potentially nasty injuries. And I just thought something that you don't really see happen very often, but quite foreseeable in the wake of sort of players getting injured off of equipment, like Jake last year. It's just a bit of feedback really. It's not a whinge or anything like that. It's just something else. I do that for a day job, so it's kind of, oh god, here he is, the safety bloke.
No, that's fine. We really appreciate the feedback.
Yeah.
I'll check with the guy. First I've heard, so I'll check with the guys. To see if it's
Just
been
the
resolved.
response to it. You'd have hoped that somebody who's looking at that stuff should have seen it, not me. And then have my daughter going, "Oh, Dad, what are you doing?" I'm going.
No, feedback's welcome, and
Yeah,
we're all in it
that's
together.
the spirit
right,
it's
so,
meant, yeah.
No,
And,
thank you.
yeah.
Check it out.
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
Anyone else? Let's move on to the retail side of things at the club. Mark Birch has some questions about the club shop and items running out of stock, Polly. He says, I've already bought first and second team shirts, but would also like the third matchday shirt, as well as training tops and swimming shorts, for example. Why does the club not have enough stock at the beginning of the season? Timely replenishing of stock and a wider range of items, especially online, if you do not have the room in store.
Yeah. So again, unprecedented amount of sales, and I know that's probably the second time I've used the word unprecedented, and it really comes down to the quality of the design that's been put in by Luke Matthews, by Jack Johnson, the input that we've had from our sponsors into the design of them, and just the quality of the designs and the launch videos that have created the demand for such high quality shirts, which poses us with a good problem. And it's because fans haven't just wanted to buy one shirt, but like the fan that submitted the question, they want the second and the third as well. It's not lost on me that we have run out of some of the sizes before the season started. That I don't like that at all, and we're looking into our forecasting to make sure that doesn't happen again. We've got new orders coming in at the beginning of October, and then again periodically throughout the rest of the season, so we will replenish. But again, we're looking at our forecasting to try and make sure that doesn't happen again. But swimming shorts were out in May, I am reliably told.
Okay, thank you, Polly. Will we be doing more remakes on retro shirts? Asks Josh Ritchie.
Yes, I'm reliably informed that we've done those before in the past and they work well, and it will be something that we look to do again.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, retro shirt day tomorrow, so hopefully everyone comes in their retro shirts. I've got mine from 2000, still too baggy for me. Steve Vince asks, is it possible to get the kit shorts with pockets as an option in the club shop? It would increase short sales a lot as adults want pockets with shorts.
George McCaffrey obviously usually has people in his pocket, doesn't he?
Wow.
Thank you. Our training shorts have got pockets. Obviously, the men's and women's first team players, when they're playing, can't have pockets, so the replica kits don't, for obvious reasons, but the training ones do.
Okay, thank you. And just to say, at Milton Keynes last week, it was amazing to see from the press box all the away shirts in that end. It was fantastic, and the kits this year are sensational.
Can I just say one thing about the shirts? The Man United game, you look round, everything was black and white. It was like a human tifo. And I don't just mean like in the pontoon, like we tried and all that shit. The whole ground looked unbelievable because everyone was in black and white or red. You could just tell it was unbelievable, the spectacle. When you stood like on the pitch, it was brilliant.
No, thank you, David. Any questions from the floor about the kit this season? Yeah, just one comment.
It's not a question as such, just picking up on what's been said. Just a special praise to everybody on and off the pitch, for players, management, everybody at the club. Typical example of the brilliant gesture would be matchday programme for Manchester United. My dad, who's 87 now, is the reason why I support Grimsby Town since the age of 5. Grimsby Town mad like I am. Obviously poor help means he can't attend games now, but being able to give that programme, the guy was in tears. And he obviously just started reminiscing about his days of supporting Town, and he said, for somebody who doesn't go to games now, he said, for many years, and there's a lot of 87 years of it, he said the atmosphere around the town, all the shirts, you know, home and away, and the third strip, he said it's just amazing to see. And he's obviously from a different generation to me, but let's say everybody can appreciate it regardless of what age it is, and long may it continue.
Thank you. That's really kind, and I think we're all football fans, and it wasn't lost on us the importance of that match for the generations, and it was also an opportunity to maybe reflect on those that couldn't make it or that weren't here anymore, and just know how many people would have enjoyed. If they couldn't be here in person, maybe they were watching it on TV as well, because it was such a special moment. I think just one other part on the ticket strategy, we wanted fans to have the ability to have that physical ticket. I don't know if people still have scrapbooks, I keep my ticket stubs, but just to be able to hold something tangible as a memory of that game was one thing that we wanted to retain. We could have done everything online, but we wanted to make sure that the ticket office was open for people to come in person to keep that ticket. And I think that's probably something that, even though it means the ticket office staff have to work again so many hours, but I think that was important for all of the fan base to be able to hold that physical memory.
Thank you, Polly. Any more questions about the kit this season? No. Well, we're down to our final category, which is great, which is the food and drink section. So Polly, this is for you from Ashley Brown. Could the club investigate quick beer dispensers? These dispensers can pour 1 pint up to 5 times faster than traditional methods and reduce waste. I think this would make it much more appealing for fans to go for a pint at half time. Faster service means more pints sold, which would lead to a significant increase in revenue both before the match and at half time. What are your thoughts on this?
I think just more broadly on food and beverage, this was one of the key topics that came out of the fan survey, and we've had over 700 responses to that survey. So Wayne from the Mariners Trust has seen all the responses, as have I and some of the team members. So there's an awful lot to work through, and we know that that's a key part of matchday experience, and we'll keep looking to refresh and improve on both the food and the drink side. I've had a look into that particular proposal, and it's not financially viable for us at the moment. Also, the width of our concourses mean that even if we were to be able to serve more pints, we couldn't necessarily get the footfall through. It would also mean that the variety of drinks and beer that we offer at the moment would decrease as well. So at the moment, that's not one for us, but we are still looking at every way that we can improve food and drink around the ground.
Because I think some grounds have screens, don't they, where you can pre-order the drinks and everything. I think Carlisle have got that at Brunton Park, I think.
Yeah, no, there's loads of stuff happening at various grounds, and whether that's order from your seat or from an app or whatever, we'll get there. There's obviously a lot still to do in various ways, but yeah, food and beverage is on the list.
Has anyone got any questions about the food and drinks side of things, or refreshment side? No? Have you got any more questions generally? Have you thought of anything throughout the evening, as the evening has progressed? Any questions about anything in general? I'll go for it.
Question for David. That's okay. Transfers. Are you already looking at next year's transfers, maybe January this year or next season? Have you got ideas of players and positions you want to fill?
We are currently in the middle of the transfer window review from summer. I've actually just completed mine today. The rest of the staff will get it done by, I think we've got the first meeting the week on Thursday, something like that, and we've got the rest of the staff and wider staff. I think it was the 29th this month. It's already in the diary in the next couple of weeks. From that, we will update processes, profiles, etc., etc., etc. From that, one of the questions is what are we still missing, what do we need to improve. That will form part of the strategy. We try and work in 2 windows, so we've got a current or continuous 2 window. So whilst we're also looking this summer, we're mindful of what this January. When we're going into January, we're already mindful of what's next summer. So although we haven't got specific targets, because this one's only just shut, we already sort of know, or I sort of know, but then it might be different to the rest of the staff. And we'll see what comes into the pot in the next 2 weeks to then form the basis of the strategy going into January.
Yeah. It's just we've got such a good squad at the moment. We've got depth everywhere.
Yeah.
But what I would like to say is that one person who I've seen improve beyond, what I thought he could do was Darren Burns. I think he's been phenomenal.
Like I've said all along, they're all making progress. Some faster than others. Some maybe a bit more obvious than others. For me, the biggest improvement, Henry Brown. For first year pro to do what he's done so far, he's phenomenal. And I think that's because he made significant progress last year, training with us a lot. And his character and his temperament. We haven't really seen him a lot on the first team pitch, but he's made huge strides for a first year pro. Huge strides.
Is that what you kind of look for in a player, is character first, more than ability maybe?
It's part of the process. It's very difficult to judge character from afar without knowing the players. It's something that we're trying to improve on our process, transfer process, continually. We're trying to be more accurate in profiling players. So one of the things going forward is how can we measure if they've got a growth mindset. It's not an easy question to ask. Ask their agents, they've got everything. Ask a previous manager, you don't know if they've been genuine. You've got to ask a lot of people. And there's various ways of finding things out very subtly, but we know what the answer should be to certain questions. So there's little things that we're trying to tweak and constantly get better at to see if somebody's going to come in and genuinely improve, because they've got a mindset where they go, right, I'm not happy where I am as a footballer, I want to get better and want to learn. So there's all them little things that we're trying to constantly get better at. So we pick best players, recruit best players.
Cheers, David, and thank you for your questions. Any more questions generally for the panel.
I have to say, it's a much more glamorous assistant now.
Hi David, it's Adrian. The question is, what do the players that come from further down the pyramid think when they come out at like Warsaw, there's 700 Grimsby fans or 1,000 on Saturday and K Dons? When they used to be playing in front of smaller crowds.
The best example I can give you is when we stood in front of the fans at Doncaster away last year, 3,500 on just, you know, beating a local rival, the top of the league I think at the time. And Geezer and Jason were both stood there, just like flabbergasted. I think Geezer played in front of 10,000 once in a European qualifier for his team. He'd never, ever, ever, he'd never played in front of 3,500 fans, never mind what he played in front of here. He'd never played in front of 3,500 away fans, that's for sure. So I'm using them as to highlight the point. You've got such an important role. I was speaking to Clark Adore at MK Dons on the pitch before the game. I said, we'll bring them well over 1,000. I said, do you think Bradford fans are good? I said, wait till you hear these lot. They're brilliant, home and away. And you are. You deserve a huge amount of credit for the support you show the lads and the numbers you're travelling, because it's not easy. I know, we're not. Nobody's blessed with money or a lot of money, and times are still tough and all the rest of it. I hope we're trying to repay the faith that you're showing us, and the lads really appreciate you backing.
Any more questions or thoughts? Well, I suppose we wrap it up. Or any more thoughts from the panel, from you three, just before we finish things?
I'd just like to add to what David said about the fans and the support that you all give us. We know everyone's got choices to make on a Saturday and elsewhere, and it's amazing to get the support we're getting this season, and both home and away. So I'd like to just add my thanks to that. We don't take it for granted.
Thank you. Also, just to echo that, but also I know we have these forums formally twice a year, but you've obviously got the Mariners Trust who are actively seeking to increase their membership, and Wayne joined us today for a board meeting. So please do feed in any of your thoughts, your ideas through to Wayne or through to Dave with the Disabled Sports Association, because we're meeting monthly. We're always on WhatsApp as well. So please do keep it going. The flags at the back of the pontoon look brilliant, so keep them coming. If you want more, a drummer or whatever it is, let's keep it going, because we're onto a good thing. But let's keep pushing. We'll look at doing a better TIFO as well. I know Wayne's looking at a crowd surfer banner, so let's keep going. Add to it. But I know Wayne. I don't know if Wayne wants to say anything, but we just want to keep this engagement going throughout the season, not just at these two formal points.
And David, anything to say? Any thoughts about tomorrow's game? Any insight?
No insight. You'll find out at 2:30 or whatever it is as well. No, look, I think, like I said, I think we made a good start. You don't win anything in September or even at Christmas. Consistency and progress. I'll take March, because that means we've done ever so well. But yeah, thanks. We're all, as a football club, we're better as one, and we're better if we're all pushing the same. We all want the same thing, and I appreciate, you guys will sit in front of people, certainly like me, who are fairly transient in this game, unfortunately, and we'll say that kind of thing, but we genuinely mean it. We genuinely mean that we want to make you proud, because we want to give you a team that, you have nights like you had the other night. We want you to have, hopefully, a real good, not just 7 games in the league, the next 37 in the league as well. Because that's what we're all trying to do, and we appreciate any support, any help, any feedback that you want to give us.
Thank you, David. And well, I hope you found it an interesting and engaging night, and found out a few more things about the club. Polly Bancroft David Artell and Andrew Potter. Thank you. Thank you. Freddie and Martin on camera. And all the staff as well in the Memories. Thank you to all the staff. Thank you.